I'm his side piece.
Yes.
I'm his side piece.
At best.
That's all
Yeah,
I am. I'm just some blonde with a nice booty
Yep.
that he likes to talk to every now and then. I mean,
Yeah.
Jay, he's using me.
Yeah, you're reaching like midnight phone call once every 3 months.
Yo, what's up? It's Chris Simms. It's Chris Simms Unbuttoned. And yeah, I'm cheating on my host again. I don't care. I'm the hell with him. The Olympics obviously a big deal. So we're kicking Ahmed Fareed to the curb for a little bit. And I'm bringing in my nice side piece here.
There we go.
You know, like Ahmed could be my work wife. You could be my work mistress.
That's
okay?
right.
All right.
I'll drop by every now and then. Not every day. Don't want anyone suspicious. Yeah, you know the deal by now.
Thank you.
Don't want Matthew Berry getting upset.
You know,
as
right?
He often
We got to keep that
does.
from him because that's your work wife.
Yes.
So I know we got to keep
Somehow.
this crazy relationship under wraps. All right.
That's right.
So we don't
man.
offend people. But what's up, everybody? Connor Rogers is here today to help me host this show. I did it myself Monday. That is not easy. I'm glad to have him.
It's tough.
And it is.
The
It's
solo.
tough.
I
It's tough
listened.
to
You did good.
look. It's tough to look at the camera.
Right. You
Get
gotta
your
check
own
your
thoughts.
rundown.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait a minute.
No
Am I
breaks.
missing something? No breaks.
Can't really
right.
have a drink.
Right.
It's brutal.
No,
it's brutal.
It is. It is definitely a different animal. So I'm glad to have you here today to have some good conversations. We're going to have a good one. We got players to watch, right? We kind of go through this exercise almost every year in the preseason of, position group that we're worried about or player that we think might explode. This could go anywhere. It could be a positive player to watch. It could be, I don't like this area of this team, and it's between these guys, and we'll see who can win that battle to improve the defensive tackle position or whatever. But I think it's a good exercise to give us a better feel, a better look into some teams here. But what's up, man?
Dude.
Freshly married.
Yeah.
Guys getting the new house.
Things are happening.
You're all grossed up.
I know it's really crazy, right? Considering the first time you ever met me over 10 years ago now.
Right.
Things are a little different.
Yeah, you definitely worry.
But here we are,
Yes.
BSing, having
Right.
a good time like we always do. That part never changes.
No, it never changes,
It's awesome.
does it? And then you always, as I always appreciate your style too.
Thanks, man.
The floral in today.
Yeah.
You definitely hit summertime pec muscles.
Oh, always.
Right?
Chest twice a week this time of
I
year.
haven't
Yeah.
seen you in 2 months. Your
Yeah.
pecs grew an inch
That's-
from the last
that's
time
the
I
goal.
saw you.
That's
all
great
right?
to hear.
Which is what I like my work mistresses to have.
That's
okay?
right. You always got a little something
We're having
different.
fun here.
Yeah,
Okay.
there we go. That's amazing.
But all right, we'll have some fun here and go through this today. We got a lot of questions from the homies, right? Players to watch podcast. That's what it is. I don't know if we're going to hit on every team, but we're going to hit on a lot of the major teams, and of course trying to hit on every team that we got a question for, which is the majority of the NFL for the most part. And then I think maybe we'll have a few that we go off the rails with and dive into a little deeper. But from here on out, I'll hand it off to you so you can be Mr. Professional Host Guy.
I got to shake the rust off, so this is
your-
good,
yeah,
right?
yeah. Okay.
So, let's start with the Vikings here,
Yeah.
right? And before we even touch a question,
Some news.
a reaction to the news, right?
Yeah,
JJ
right.
McCarthy, he's going to undergo surgery for a torn meniscus. A lot of times with these, Chris, they don't know the timetable until they cut into the knee because if it's a trim, 4 to 6 weeks. If it's a full repair, 4 to 6 months.
Yes, out for the year.
Right. They would cost him his rookie
Right,
season.
right.
That'd be too much to. This is so disappointing because he looked so good in his debut. Not that Sam Darnold didn't, by the way.
I
They're
know.
probably going to enjoy him holding the fort down while
Right.
McCarthy's fully ready.
Right.
But it feels like a little bit of a gut punch for the Vikings
I
right now.
agree. I
Yeah.
talked about this with Florio this morning, and of course he's Mr. Vikings fan, right? So I knew he was hurt by it. Hey, again, it seemed like you watch preseason game number 1. I went over this on Monday a little bit. Yeah, it seems like the way the amount they played him, the amount of reps, how well he did. I think how well he fits that system already. He's a great middle of the field, down the field type of thrower. That's what he did at Michigan for the most part, right? Tons of deep crosses, in cuts, right? And then, some outbreaking routes, corner routes, whatever else, but he fits that Kevin O'Connell offense. And I'm with you too. Yeah, it just stinks because I think we have a rookie class here that, I know it was only 1 week, and I think we both have agreed they know how to play the position. I was excited to see, this could be a rookie class that really comes in and kind of for a rookie hits the ground running at the quarterback position, not where we're like, wow, this is a lost year.
Right.
They can't handle this, right? And that's where it hurts. It does. JJ McCarthy, I think, again, if they continue to play him the way they were in week 1, I think he would have been probably the starter week 1 at the New York Giants. So that's where it does hurt. And it stops a little bit of the progress of what he was building, what they're doing. He doesn't get a chance to kind of build some chemistry and a nucleus with Justin Jefferson and all that. That's what stinks about it. But, to your point, Sam Darnold, right? I still think his starting quarterback caliber traits. And if there's a silver lining, they did a great job in not only getting him, just in case they didn't get a quarterback who couldn't play, right? And I think this is the best situation Sam Darnold has ever been in.
By a mile.
Right.
It's
as
not
far
close.
as a starter is concerned.
Yes.
I know he played for the 49ers last year and all that as a backup. But, yeah, I mean, come on. The Jets, the Carolina Panthers, they were not able to support him nearly to the capacity the Minnesota Vikings will be able to, not only with offensive line protection, talent down the field at receiver, but he's got an offensive coordinator who I would say top 5 passing game offensive coordinator in the league, and nobody gets people 20 and 25 wide receivers open 20 and 25 yards down the field more than O'Connell.
I agree. I mean, he's somebody that obviously can make the throws. With Darnold, you just need a coach that can cut out the mistakes.
That's
or
right.
Not, you're never going to cut out the mistakes, but mitigate those mistakes.
Right. And I think that's where O'Connell's great.
I think so, too.
He'll formulate the offense to you that way, right? He's got a great way of being tough, but also making you feel like, hey, we're in this together, right? And
now they are.
And with a lot of times, what happens too, he's I agree with you, but when you're on bad teams too, you start to force things.
Sure.
Wait, we haven't got our first down in 3 drives. This guy's not really open, but I'm going to try to make a play. And then it's Chris Simms and Connor Rogers watching the game going,
do that.
why did he force the ball in there and like that? He did that last week again when they were losing by 10 and not moving the ball, right? So we kind of forget that too. I'm hopeful. And I will say, as much as I'm hurt for JJ McCarthy and wanted to see that, right, I am happy for Sam Darnold, right? Sam Darnold now can be like, hey, I can actually practice, and they can start to formulate their team from week 1, and we don't have to worry about the quarterback conversation. And in some ways, week 1, I know the Giants aren't going to the Super Bowl. I get that. But having a Sam Darnold on the road, right, in a stadium he's played in against the Jets, I think, might be a better week 1 thing for the team of the Vikings, maybe than starting the rookie and having to deal with all that. Right.
So McCarthy, not the only first-round rookie for the Vikings that's impressed so far. Nuevo Huevo said Dallas Turner hasn't gotten enough discussion this offseason, with most of the attention going to the quarterback, but he's been as advertised. His athleticism popped off the screen against the Raiders. Chris, this is a player that they traded a lot of assets to make sure they can go up and get him.
Yeah.
And the early returns look good from Dallas Turner.
I mean, I would agree. That's definitely one of the guys you're watching. And I would agree with you that, again, what's preseason game number 1 all about? To me, it's just a look test. I don't really care about the stats. I just want to go, wait, does he look the part? Is he getting overpowered? Is his first step as good as I thought it was in college? Is he bending like I thought he was capable of? And check and check and check and check with Dallas Turner. Right. I mean, he showed all of that. And I really think he's a guy that's going to thrive in the NFL because he's going to learn how to, like we talked about in the draft process, learn how to use his hands more, a few variety of pass rush moves, all of that. He's not going to have to worry about two-gapping as much and doing some crazy stuff that Nick Saban was. He'll just be able to rush the passer. But I certainly like the way it looked in that first game. There's no doubt about that. Got 1 pressure, and I think he got 1 sack, if I remember correctly.
First quarter
right?
sack. Yeah, sack at the end of the first quarter where, going back to the point you just made, stand up pretty wide off the line of scrimmage.
Exactly.
Use the outside speed, dip the shoulder, and got the sack with athleticism where it's not, I have to read, react, contain. It's just pin your ears back and go.
They go. And I think that's going to benefit him at this level. There's no doubt. The Vikings here's another thought I just have on them as far as, again, there's not much to watch on offense. The offense it's pretty stacked, right? You like them maybe to open some more holes in the run game. I get that, but it's a very good pass protecting O-line. There's weapons galore. My other position to look at, right, I think is probably the interior D-line. That would be one place on their team I look at a little bit to just go, there's some good players there, but there's nobody that pops out to me or I go, oh, no, they'll be fine there, right? Like that is an area there with Harrison Phillips and Jerry Tillery. Again, there's a reason it's their second team. Tillery's 3rd or 4th team. I'm losing track, right? But that's one I will be certainly watching. Can those two handle the workload of defensive tackle by themselves, or are they going to need Flores to game plan certain things to protect him? That's something I'll kind of watch as we go through the preseason and early season as well with the Vikings.
Let's move over to the 49ers. Mark Gagne said, really interested in seeing Ricky Pearsall and his role in the offense with or without Aiyuk, and what other wide receiver will step up if a trade with Pittsburgh is finalized. Maybe Jennings.
Yeah.
That feels like the obvious choice, right? Especially our most recent memory is the Super Bowl for Jennings.
Yeah, I mean, he's dependable, right? And I do think that, step up, sure, do all that. I think first off, let's address the Aiyuk stuff, okay? I unpacked this a lot with Florio this morning. Been talking about it a lot really over the last few weeks on certain radio and Colin Cowherd and Dan Patrick, whatever else, right? The Aiyuk situation, we've talked about it. There was a contract out there. He then saw Amon-Ra St. Brown and A.J. Brown's contract and said, wait, what I wanted now has changed. I want it to go up because I see what they got. The market changed, all right? So that added some issues into this whole conversation, right? I know the reports came out yesterday that there's a deal in place for Pittsburgh. Well, I think there's always been talk in here as far as Pittsburgh and San Francisco. It's the reason you've heard about it so much, right? The 49ers weren't in Steeler conversations without already knowing, hey, they're kind of willing to pay him what he wants. Now let's figure out what you're going to trade us and we're going to get him back for Brandon Aiyuk, an all-pro receiver, right? So, yeah, do the 49ers want to trade him? Sure, by all due accounts, obviously. But at the same time, are they going to just trade him just to trade him and ruin their Super Bowl hopes because of that?
You can't do that.
Absolutely not. And like I hit on Monday, right, I know Shanahan. I know John Lynch. Right? Shanahan's not going to feel comfortable about Ricky Pearsall in week 1 against Sauce Gardner out in the edge when they go in 21 personnel and they're going, hey, it's 2 backs, 1 tight end, 2 receivers. Oh, okay. Debo's over there. Okay. DJ Reed's got him. And then, oh, God, our rookie who's still learning our offense and learning his life in the NFL, he's over there against Sauce, the best corner in football, maybe? Like no coach is going to feel comfortable with that. So that's where I don't see that happening. So this is the other part of this. And this is where I think this is going to be interesting as far as where this goes in this 49ers Steelers contract thing here. Or trade, excuse me. Here's the problem with the Steelers. The 49ers aren't going to trade Aiyuk unless they know they're going to get some other receiver back somewhere, right? I mean, there's a reason Kendrick Bourne was a part of the conversation with the Patriots. Amari Cooper.
I heard that one a lot.
Well, I know this from both sides.
Right.
I mean, the Cleveland and Amari Cooper, and they were willing to give Aiyuk the contract and all of that, right? So that was talked about. But then Aiyuk backed off and said, I don't want to go there. So which
he's done multiple times.
He's done multiple times, and it sounds like he's adamant about the Steelers, and of course we know Washington is on his radar too. But Shanahan's not going to just trade him to the Steelers, right? And if he doesn't feel like he's getting the value back, right? He's going to go, well, then I'm going to keep him. We're a Super Bowl team. I'm not just going to get rid of our Super Bowl chances because I didn't want him or we didn't want to pay him a little extra money or whatever else. So that's not going to happen. And the Steelers, too, and I think the 49ers would know this, they're desperate for other receiver. Like the Steelers want to go back to the playoffs and be a real playoff team and actually make waves. If I'm the 49ers, I'm sitting there and go ahead with Van Jefferson and Calvin Austin III as your next targets. See how that works out for you, right? Trying to lowball us in the trade. And I don't know what the trade is. I have no idea, right? I don't. But my point being is Shanahan and John Lynch are not going to trade Brandon Aiyuk to the Steelers just because we've been talking about trade and we're just going to trade him because this is what we want to do.
To end the saga. Right.
No, that is no way. They're not going to just throw in the towel that way. And, okay, the other part of that is even if the Steelers are offering maybe what they want, the other part is what I was alluding to. If the 49ers can't find another team to do a trade and get a receiver in, I think they're going to go, well, Aiyuk's our best option. We're going to go with that, and maybe we have to pay him a little bit more money than we really wanted to, but we're going to deal with this because we're in the Super Bowl window right now. We're not going to ruin that just because of a few $1 million or the saga like you're referring to.
So there's just no way at the end of the day it's Aiyuk's moved for a second-round pick. Like, that does nothing for the 49ers right now. Literally nothing. The problem is, what do the Steelers have asset-wise out of players that makes sense to come back to them? That's where it's not like George Pickens is coming back in this trade.
No, exactly right. That's the problem. The assets are only going to be trade or picks, most likely, like you're talking about. And the 49ers can't do anything with them right now to help this team out.
They almost need a third team. This needs to be NBA style.
There's no doubt.
Which is pretty unprecedented. Not unprecedented, but uncommon.
Right. But that's how I think it will play out. And again, I know everybody always thinks I know everything with Shanahan and the 49ers. I don't know. Like, there's no way. And honestly,
he's a little busy right now.
Well, he's a little busy. And like, even last night, I said this to Florio earlier. I was like, I thought about texting him, but I was like, I don't want him to tell me something I already know, and then
Right.
I can't say it.
Yep.
So I was like, I didn't even bother him or deal with it or try to dig in on it. I've had plenty of conversations, in the offseason. I know Shanahan, I know Lynch, I know what they think of their football team to a degree, and I feel like I know them and how they think in general anyways. So I think that's the issue there. But the third team, to me, if the Steelers are going to be the ones they trade Aiyuk to, the third team is certainly the other part of this puzzle. And where does that receiver come from? And I think that's where you got to think about Shanahan. Wait, am I gonna put all my eggs in the basket of we traded Aiyuk, Debo gets banged up, he plays very physical, Kittle's been banged up a lot the last few years and at that age, right? And then, Christian McCaffrey, who we know before he got to San Francisco had injury histories.
He's hurt now.
And now we're going, yeah, exactly. And now we're going to go with a rookie, Ricky Pearsall.
Who's also been banged up already.
Exactly.
It just keeps going.
So for a coach who we know, by nature, they want things the way they are and they're conservative that way. I just can't ever see Shanahan being able to swallow that type of formula if Brandon Aiyuk's not there.
To put a bow on this topic, what do you think is more likely, that three-way trade or Aiyuk gets the deal from the 49ers after all of this drama?
Ooh.
Find that third team is tricky.
It's very
But
tricky.
the Niners have not caved where they could have just kept him
No.
if they offered all the money.
I think right now, if you made me bet, I'm going to say Aiyuk stays with the 49ers, and they find – Florio asked me today, he's like, so what do you think he's going to get? And I was like, he's going to get something north of Amon-Ra St. Brown and something just south of A.J. Brown would be my guess. And we'll see where it goes from there.
Best for both sides.
It definitely.
I think maybe Aiyuk has started to realize that as this process got longer. Because we heard the rumors about New England putting a lot of money out there. You brought up Cleveland.
Right.
At some point, obviously, he likes the Steelers.
Cleveland and New England, I know from multiple people around the league, they made him the offer that he wanted to make
The
as far as the
Godfather
contract.
offer, yeah.
They made the contract. Now, the rest of the stuff didn't work out, whether it was the trade or he didn't want to go there or whatever, but the money was there for him to be had. And I would think the Steelers are also, they're not this far down the road unless they know the Steelers are willing to offer him what he wants.
For sure.
And now you just got to figure out the other things we talked about.
This next one from Niners NE. Dom Pooney, the rookie guard for the 49ers, could be a modern-day Jesse Sapolu, Randy Cross on that line.
Hey, I mean, I hear you. I know they're excited about him. He's a rookie that's being thrusted right into the fray. So obviously there's real talent there and something to watch. I do think it's an offensive line that's solid but not great. I think Shanahan's greatness makes it look better because he's so good at designing plays and giving them advantages and all that. But, are they a team that always, like we saw in the Super Bowl, the Chiefs said, you, we're in your face, we're playing man-to-man a little bit, we're going to cover you, but we ain't going to let you run. And we're going to put some big people in the middle because we don't think you're just big enough to just blow us off the line of scrimmage and overpower us consistently through the day. And that I think is true. They kind of called their bluff in that department. So, yeah, that would be nice to see if he can come through for the 49ers that way.
Some old school references from Niners NE there. Throwing out Randy Cross.
Oh, I know, right?
Jesse Sapolu.
Oh,
yeah.
seriously.
Yes. All right.
Back to the guys. I didn't like those 49ers. They were always beating my dad's team.
Let's move over to the Lions, staying in the NFC. Wisco Lion BC. Brian Branch of the Lions. He was a great nickel corner last season, but now is making the move to safety so that he's on the field full time. How hard of a switch is this going to be? I feel like he could be the next Tyrann Mathieu. What I'll say to this, Chris, Branch did a ton of things for Alabama's secondary.
Exactly.
He was one of the smartest players that Saban had throughout that time.
Right.
This is not... It's a switch for him for the pros. It's not a switch for him for his life. He's done this before.
No, exactly right.
Yeah.
He's done it before, right? This is to me where, hey, listen, I understand the question, the thought, and all this, but I look at it and go, don't worry.
Yeah.
He's going to be fine. This guy can play football. And, well, we know with the defense, hey, they're pretty creative in what they do with Aaron Glenn on that side of the ball and how they play, right? Just because you're safety doesn't mean you're not going to be nickel a lot of the game, right? There's going to be certain situations and personnel groups where they're going to go, wait, we're cool with, hey, this play right here, we might have we might just have like a Kirby Joseph in the middle of the field, and they're in a 4-receiver set, and we got Brian Branch on one slot guy, and Tyrann Arnold or Amik Robertson's on the other slot guy. We got 2 slot guys here, right? But I think that's kind of the beauty of their secondary. When I look at Brian Branch, Kirby Joseph, and I even put Tyrann Arnold in that conversation, they can kind of do everything. Right?
It's funny they took Arnold because it's the same thought process.
It's very much the same.
It's a big-time safety the best safeties in his recruiting class that ended up transitioning
He
to corner.
tackles. He's smart. You know he could do it. He's a football player, just like Branch. So I don't worry about that. I think to me and to our man there at Wisco Lion BC, I think I said that right.
You nailed it.
Don't worry about that. They're good players. That's not the thing I look at on the roster and go, ooh. I have one spot. This is a Super Bowl team. I mean, come on. I might pick them to go to the Super Bowl. I might pick them to win it. I don't even know, but they're in my brain in that category. To me, it's all one thing. Another pass rusher.
Yeah.
Marcus Davenport, whoever. I don't know. They need somebody else. They can't think they're going to go, maybe to an NFC championship game and have to play the 49ers or even the Packers or the Eagles or somebody like that. Or let's just say go to the Super Bowl and play Joe Burrow or Mahomes or somebody and think that we're going to have to blitz to continue to get pressure on this quarterback. No, those teams and those quarterbacks are going to beat the blitz. And if you have to be too aggressive too consistently, you're going to lose the game, right? They're going to have – if you blitz Mahomes over and over, I'm sorry, you're going to lose the Super Bowl. That's just the way it's going to be. You got to be able to rush forward at times and get pressure and do it that way against the quality teams in football. To me, that is the number one spot I look at with the Lions.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, you got the 1A guy in Hutchinson, but – you need to open up matchups for him and get get the guy across from him.
Exactly.
Otherwise, you could game plan against
just
Hutchinson.
Think about the teams we're talking about. They always have quality. Super Bowl teams always have more than one pass rusher, one guy.
Honestly, they rotate 3 edge rushers.
Usually, right.
Like all the good teams
a lot
are
of the
doing
good teams, and they have one D tackle in the middle where you go, we might have to double team him too.
Spot on.
So that's to me the only thing I look at with this Lions roster and just go, ooh, I hope Marcus Davenport can come through for them. Right.
All right, moving on to the Packers. Gentlemen, TBD. Packers safety position. Rookies Javon Bullard and Evan Williams have been having a competitive camp battle, and both are performing well. It'll be interesting to see who gets the most snaps next to Xavier McKinney.
Yeah.
It is interesting because Bullard's a guy that can, we just had the Branch conversation not too long ago. He could play the same style of football.
Exactly right.
And Evan Williams is a day 3, he was a good player, not spectacular, a good rock-solid player, and that's carried into training camp for him.
I was probably lower on Javon Bullard than you were, and maybe the rest of the public, right? Yeah. I wasn't in love with his explosive ability.
He wasn't that explosive.
No, but he can
smart,
play.
Tackling football player.
Exactly right. And that's exactly where, again, I'm interested to see how this battle goes and certainly want to see where that goes, definitely. But I don't worry. A little bit like my Lions take, I would say. I don't worry about it. I'm not like, oh, they're really voided of talent here, right? It's like you just said. Williams has got a chance. There's no doubt about it. And I know Bullard's going to be able to play football and come up and make tackles and do things like that they missed with Darnell Savage when he was there. So that to me is not a big worry. I will say the same thing about the Packers as I kind of said the Lions. Like, what is there to look at on their roster and really go, their roster is phenomenal.
Interior O-line, maybe?
Maybe
I think
interior.
they've had some problems with center so far in camp. But this is me, by the way, I'm trying to answer your question.
I hear you.
Because it's not easy to answer.
It's not an easy question.
Right.
It's not. I mean, it's a really well put together team. I know people have been talking about, they don't have a number 1 receiver. They got 4, I would say they're 4 receivers in Reed, Dobbs, Watson, and Wicks. I'd put up there with against any 4 in football. You don't have to have the superstar number 1 to win the Super Bowl, all right? The Kansas City Chiefs won the last 2 without a number 1 receiver, right? I mean, there's a lot of that. Did the Eagles have a number 1 receiver when they beat the Patriots?
Right.
Did the Patriots really ever have a number 1 receiver when they were winning? They had Gronk and Edelman, but they weren't going to force feed it like, we got to get him the ball every night. They ran an offense, and you had to figure out, hey, Tom's going to go to the right place with this ball with our creative plays, right? The Broncos in 2015, did they have a number 1? No. Neither did the Carolina Panthers. They were playing in that Super Bowl. I would argue the 2012 Ravens didn't have a number 1 receiver. The 2013 Seattle Seahawks, I would say, did not have a number 1 receiver. It's committees.
Yep.
Drew Brees and the 2009 Saints team, there was no go-to one guy. It was committee. If they're good enough and the system's good enough, right, and then you have the quarterback to go with that, you can make it work. You don't need to have Randy Moss or Terrell Owens, all right? That would be my point. So they have a great roster, getting back to the point. My one thing with them, it's just Eric Stokes. I mean, Eric Stokes has a chance to be a star at corner. He just can never stay healthy.
Right.
He's got everything. man, if they can get him to be healthy for a full year with Jair Alexander, and you put those two out there, and now you get the ability to, not only is our D-line damn good, but, we can be a little aggressive, blitzing, and be crazy every now and then because we got two cover guys we trust that can kind of handle it if we take a chance. That, to me, would put them over the top and going, oh, my gosh, because I think their D-line is very talented. It's got depth. I mean, real depth. Like 8 or 10 guys I look at to go, they can all play and be good football players. So that would be my one spot. Anything else jump out to you about them?
I'll throw something at you with the wide receiver group because I agree. It's absolutely a committee.
Yeah.
But what's stopping Jayden Reed from being the guy? Rookie season, almost 800 yards, 8 touchdowns.
Right.
He was the 50th overall pick in the draft.
Right.
He was asked to do a lot of different things for Michigan State, special teams, and be a playmaker.
Right. Probably played him on the outside too much.
Right.
Right.
He feels like a guy that he's not the biggest guy. He's fast, but not the fastest guy. Just the connection he has with Jordan Love, it feels like he could be the 1,000-yard guy out of that group.
I feel like he can be the Amon-Ra St. Brown for their team.
That's kind of where I'm
right?
leaning. I just don't trust Watson to stay on the field to have the production.
I got you.
I'm interested with Romeo Doubs.
Yeah.
But Jayden Reed, as a rookie, showed maybe he can be the guy. Not 1,400 yards.
Yeah.
1,000.
Not catching slants and going 80 yards to the house, but working the offense, running routes, tough as hell, and enough speed where if you get over aggressive on the short routes, he can beat you deep, right? I'm with you. He could be their go-to guy, right? And their number one, but not the number one we perceive as
the
like,
top 10
hey,
guys
we just put him out of there and it's man-to-man. We go to him every time. Maybe not that. But that's where I do think if Christian Watson could stay healthy, he could be that guy. But, I mean, every time he's about to get going, something happens to that damn hamstring or leg every time.
To your Eric Stokes point, he's only played 12 games in the past 2 seasons, so they need him.
Yes.
And then one more on the Packers from Carl Phillips. Packers, Rashawn Gary with a 15-plus sack season. The Packers could really fly on defense with the upgrades they made in the offseason. Super Bowl pending. They're going to be I think, a popular pick because of the depth you brought up, and everybody thinks Jordan Love is going to be a top 5 quarterback this year.
And they're kind of like not the obvious one, so it's like, hey, they're kind of, I'm a genius. It's the Packers, right?
Yeah. I like when you can't pick the Chiefs during the Super Bowl, and you don't want to pick the Niners or the Lions. That's where you default.
The Packers will be that team. You're exactly right. I would agree with that. And what I would say to anybody out there is like, hey, I said this to Flory the other day. I mean, you go back and watch that divisional game against the 49ers. You can't sit here and tell me that the 49ers were like more talented than Green Bay. It's even. Green Bay is stacked. They are a Super Bowl caliber roster. It will come down to Stokes, the interior O-line, and Jordan Love if he can continue to grow in the direction we think he can grow.
We stay in that division with the Bears. Chad Clark 3-2-1. Bears D-line. Sweat is the guy. The back end is set. Who is the guy that steps up? Dexter at 3-tech or Booker on the edge, who's had a nice preseason, by the way, very early. But maybe they explore Judon or Reddick trade. They won't get Reddick. That was for Connor.
I got to watch Booker. I didn't really watch him closely the other day yet.
He was awesome.
Yeah, he was one of our under-the-radar guys. You went, man, he's made for the NFL as a pass rusher. His build, the way he plays the game. I think this is one where I totally agree with that. Our man at Chad Clark 3-2-1. I'm spot on. Like one, I think they're a sneaky good roster as well. I think their O-line's better than what people give it credit for. We know the receivers and the tight end, and hey, we know it's a rookie quarterback, but I'm about as hopeful of this rookie quarterback as I've ever been about any.
Looked as advertised.
I mean, come on. It was eye-popping, right? The defense, we talked about it at the end of the year and all that.
The second half of last year, they were phenomenal.
They were one of the best defenses in football.
Basically,
right?
Start with the Sweat trade and evaluate all their numbers and film from there. Totally different team.
Took
everything Eberflus was hired to do.
Exactly right. And I hope that continues. I hope he continues to call the plays on the defensive side. The D-tackle, though, position is the one I look at, right? I don't sit here and go, oh, they got nothing. I just, hey, can Gervon Dexter be a takeover, up the play type of guy like we think he might be able to, right? I think that's why they made the appropriate moves to kind of set it up to be this guy here. But yeah, I think that's that Andrew Billings, Zach Pickens, right? Byron Cowart.
Rotation of people.
Just the quality of that position is what I would want to. I want to see it to believe it, I guess is what I'm trying to say there. But that's the only thing I think I really question about this Bears football team.
Yeah, the pass rush point is really interesting because if Booker just dominates all summer, then you kind of throw out the idea of needing to make that big splashy trade. Judon, I know the Jets already said they're not trading Reddick. Like that's not happening. Judon has been one of the harder storylines to follow this summer. It feels like some days he's out there practicing, destroying everything in sight. Some days he's not practicing at all.
Yeah.
He wants a contract.
Right.
They've been mad at him. They haven't been mad at him. It's just so hard to dissect where that situation goes.
I don't know either. I mean, he's really, he's the best player on their defense.
Oh, man,
right?
He's good. Yeah.
He's blue chip. He's severely underpaid. He's definitely one of the best edge players.
He can't play on that deal this year, right? Like
I don't think so. And again, I don't look at him and go, oh, the career's coming to an end here. I would think this is one where you'd go, wait, he kind of embodies everything we want here with the Patriots and Gerard Mayo. So why don't we kind of reward him and figure this out to where he's here for the next 2 or 3 years and leads us out of the dark, right? So I don't know where that goes. I don't. Hey, DeMarcus Walker, the other DN, he's going to be a good first and second. He's not going to be a sack master, but he's a good player.
Right.
But yeah, Booker, Dominique Robertson, can they kind of jump up and add some pass rush value to that team? Certainly, going to be something to watch for. But yeah, I think that D tackle position, just how dominant or how undominant will they be is something to watch for.
This one for the Rams from Gabe Campos, 1499. Tyler Davis, nose tackle for the Rams. He had an outstanding preseason game 1 versus the Cowboys, and he looks promising as a 6th-rounder from Clemson. Chris, this was a kid that he was at Clemson for a long time. He was a long-time starter. Not the greatest athlete, but just was out there making plays for Clemson and reliable point of attack guy for a long time, and undervalued in the draft. But the Rams always find
these
guys.
They're very good at this.
Always find
they are
these guys.
very good, and they don't always look for like these giant defensive tackles. They kind of they do a good job of finding tweeners, what I would call.
Kobe
and that's
Turner
kind of what
was 2 years ago. He was great.
Kind of that way,
rookie.
where it's like, wait, they're not the biggest guy, but they're stronger than what their size would tell you, and they're not the most athletic guy, but they can shoot between a gap and cause some problems, right? They got a little bit of both that way. But yeah, I think that's something to watch for. To me, I didn't pick out one player with the Rams when I really look at their roster. To me, it is the front 7 in general, though, that I just go, it's young, it's unproven,
really young,
right? And you can even take that into the middle linebacker position. But yeah, whether it's either guy on the edge in Jared Verse or Braden Fisk, or even going back to Byron Jones from their Byron Young, from 2 years ago. Just do they take the next step? Do they continue that way? Same with Kobe Turner. But that's the one part of their team that I kind of look at and I go, I think the Rams are a lower level NFC Super Bowl contender. But I do wonder if their defense and front 7 can be good enough and dominant enough to kind of beat the elite teams in the NFL.
And they're wondering the same thing when you look at they gave up a ton of assets to get Fisk after they took Verse. I mean, they really, those first 2 picks, they knew
they were desperate at this spot.
Yeah, they wanted, and both those guys were really exciting prospects.
They had to do too much last year to hide and help the D-line. It was just too much of that. Right? They played the Lions, and with the Lions offensive line in that playoff game, the Rams couldn't even play too deep because they knew if they played too deep, they were like, there's no way we can stop their run game. They'll run it right down our throat. They literally had to play the whole game in a run defense and then still say, okay, we could stop the Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jared Goff passing game. That's tough to do. It's tough to beat the good teams like that, and that's where, I just want to see them and see if some of those guys are as advertised as rookies and some of the younger guys take the next step.
More NFC West talk here. Scott John on the Seahawks. Hoping Connor's real estate situation went well. Thank you. Everything went fine. For the Seahawks, Byron Murphy. He f***ed up several plays Saturday, got double-teamed without moving an inch on a run play, and even got triple-teamed on a pass play. He and the Hawks defense looks legit.
I mean, you knew that, hey, listen, it's a defensive head coach, and he came from Baltimore. You know the defense is going to be flying around. This is 3 in a row that I'll say, though, if you made me pick one player, right, I would agree it's Byron Murphy. Right? But to me, if Byron Murphy is what we think he's about to be, it'll take their defense, it'll make them a force to be reckoned with, right? I think that's how I kind of look at it. If they have the ability to get Jerron Reed, Byron Murphy, and Leonard Williams on the field together with Draymond Jones, play after play after play, I'd go, oof, that's a handful for a offensive line to deal with, right? So that there's no doubt. I mean, you still can talk about offensive line, I think, with the Seattle Seahawks, which has not been great the last few years.
Needs to be healthy, too.
Right.
Like
Abraham
you need Abe Lucas to be healthy.
Exactly right. Connor Williams coming off an injury. How can he look, right? Laken Tomlinson from your New York Jets.
Yeah, he's
right?
had his struggles.
There's questions there. But I think if you made me pick one player, it would be Byron Murphy, because I think if Byron Murphy is the stud we think he's about to be, like you go, oh, man, there's talent on this defense, and they could be a top 10 defense in the NFL with this coach.
I think it goes to your point, Chris. Murphy gives that defense, and Witherspoon is like this too, but there's only so much you can do on the back end of game-changing plays, not just hold the fort plays.
Exactly right.
So now they got that guy up front with the guy on the back end.
Exactly right. They got like real chaos makers to where now, oh gosh, we got to think about what plays, what protection, what run game plays are really going to work against this group, right? And not put us in bad situations, and that'll become a real thing.
This one on the Bucs from GP King 101. Yaya Diaby and Kalijah Cansey. If both of them take a step forward and stay healthy the whole year, watch out for Tampa Bay. These were two of my guys in that draft class, Chris. I know you were early on Diaby as well. I mean, just so athletic up front with these two.
Yeah.
So athletic,
as hell.
explosive.
Diaby, the first thing that jumped out to me, it was like his pecs were sticking out of his shirt, and I was like, damn, I've seen those Connor Rogers pecs. That reminds me of that.
He's got a couple pounds on him, just a couple.
But he was a freak. I mean, I can still remember seeing the combine going, holy shit, because it was a year of just a bunch of freaky looking bodies. But yeah, I mean, I look at, again, I would say the Bucs are one of those teams where I go lower fringe Super Bowl team in the NFC. There's not a lot of teams in the NFC that the list isn't as long as the AFC as far as Super Bowl teams. But I would say it's there, right? I don't know. Like, I don't have one spot. You look at, is there another receiver that can jump up for them a little bit?
Can Jalen McMillan help
is Mike
them?
Evans going to fall off a little?
We're always waiting.
I know. We're kind of getting to that age.
Will Godwin be healthy?
But I think they've figured out the offensive line. I don't think there's questions there, really.
Graham Barton looks good early.
I know.
That was also like a no-brainer pick that so many
no-brainer.
teams didn't make, and then the Bucs get to make it.
I mean, they quietly have a really badass offensive line. Their defensive line's got a lot of people there that I love. I go, ooh, size. You're not going to push them around. But I think it gets back into, do we have some guys that can disrupt plays and make plays that way? But, man, overall, again, it's a pretty well put together roster. I think maybe, the corner position's another one you look at and go, hey, I know Jamel Dean's good, but the McCullum going to have to take over a full-time duty and that step there. Those are
a lot
kind
of talent at that position over the years.
They definitely did. It's going to be interesting to see where that goes.
Yeah, Diaby's one to watch too, because a lot of their early round edge or versatile edge players haven't hit.
They haven't hit. Like Logan Hall's a solid player, but not
Joe
a guy.
Tryon,
exactly right. Same type of thing.
So
right.
That's a good point on Diaby.
Yeah.
All right, for the Saints, Tomas Pena, Dallin Holker. Very curious about how Kubiak will utilize a tight end who can move so well like him, and Taysom Hill who could do it all. Dallin Holker, we used to nickname him the Incredible Holker.
Is that right?
Yeah. When we were doing our draft podcast, we call him the Incredible Holker. Listen, tight end for the Saints, obviously always noteworthy, especially with the injuries they have at the position now, too.
I know, because Jawan Johnson's he's
difference
a
maker
force.
at times.
He's a player. He is. That certainly it's a good thought how they'll use him. We know Kubiak. He's rooted in Shanahan world, so the tight end play, two tight ends, that's a part of his attack. There's no doubt. His dad, he believed in being physical and running the football. That's why they got to the Super Bowl the first year he took over with the Broncos. I mean, quite honestly, I think the Saints have a few questions, problems, whatever, right? Is the defensive line what we think it is, what it is? I don't know. They're solid there. Is there anybody that I look at on that defensive line right now to go, ooh, he's a game plan?
Game changer.
Yeah.
It's the conversation we just had about the Seahawks.
Pretty much.
It's the combo we just had. Where's the Byron Murphy?
There's
Brian Brzee was supposed to be that guy, so can he take this step this year to be that guy?
They got depth, but nobody that I look at to go, oh, he's a game changer, or late in the fourth quarter, this guy will make a few plays. I think that's real. And then, the other one, too, is just the tackle situation, right? Hey, Trevor Penning, we know the issues that have been there with that, right? And then Talise Huaga from Oregon State, and we loved him. I thought he was going to be a guard in the NFL,
Yeah,
but with this team, they're desperate here for a tackle, so they need him. So I think, their tackle position is probably the thing that jumps out to me, or what as we get farther in preseason, I'll continue to kind of focus on and go, wait, do these guys look the part? Is Trevor Penning going to be okay, right? Because it's been very up and down in his career to this point.
And that's just non-negotiable when Derek Carr's your quarterback. Like, if you have some offensive line questions, but we're talking about guys that are either mobile or just shred apart pressure.
Yeah, or could just stand in there and never flinch.
He's not that guy.
Not that guy. No, he's not.
So that's the trickle effect of that.
I would agree. And that's what happened a little last year. And that's why he got it a little into, we'd watch games and you'd go, damn, that guy's open downfield. But he was getting hit and pressure, and he didn't want to wait. He wanted to get the ball out of his hand and try to live to play another day.
And that's probably the beginning of this topic from Tomas about the multiple tight ends with Kubiak. They're probably going to have to
run the ball a little bit, do that, try to keep people honest that way, and maybe max protect, help these guys a little with the extra tight end in the game.
All right, going to the Cowboys, head coach Ferratu, DeMarvion Overshown for the Cowboys. Not a rookie, but first year playing since his ACL tear in preseason last year. 2 years ago, Chris, a really interesting long linebacker from your Texas Longhorns.
A Longhorn right there, wearing the 0, right? I mean, he was a guy I think we both thought coming out, like, he's not a top 45 pick or anything, but he's got some physical attributes that popped off to you. First off, that's one of the questions to me. We could focus on that and Overshown, or just the position itself, to me, is the weakest part of the Dallas Cowboy team, maybe in general, right? You know me, and I said this a lot last year. They're another team I just look at. I don't want to say front seven because their edge guys are legit,
phenomenal, yeah.
But the interior part, middle linebacker, D tackle, I mean, that's got to be better. For the teams where last year they wanted to put themselves in the Super Bowl conversation and be up there with the upper echelon teams, they did not have an interior part of the defense that matched up with the really good teams in football in that department, right? We were talking about, hey, can they stop big teams from running the ball on them? I don't know. So we need Mozzie Smith to pop up this year, and their middle linebacker play has been below average the last few years, plain and simple. So Eric Kendricks, yes, he's up there in age. He's not what he was in Minnesota. He's going to get guys lined up in the Zimmer defense, and he's still solid, right? Damone Clark, I don't know what to expect there.
Smaller linebacker.
Right, I like his athleticism, but, I got to see it to believe it here in the NFL. And then we got the questions with Overshown. Can he take over? They're going to mainly be in nickel, so only 2 out of those 3 are going to be on the field. We'll see where it goes, but that, to me, is the question with the Cowboys.
I'm with you. If you're playing the Cowboys, why are you not testing the run game right up the middle? Like, why would you even try to tempt their edge pass rush in their corners?
Right. Or give them right. Or drop back.
You're playing into what they do well.
Exactly right. Smash mouth right at them. Another thing with the right tackle, maybe another place you can look at with the
Terrence Steele
was the weak link last year. There's no doubt, but maybe another year of play under his belt here. He comes back and is a little more solid there.
Well, one of the teams they have to deal with, the Eagles. Don Drakey asks, Quinyon Mitchell has been the best DB for Philly.
No,
already getting praise from Fangio, which seems hard to do.
Yeah, it is, especially as a rookie. Fangio he does not want to praise rookies.
It's old school. Who could have seen this one coming?
Well, there's just like certain. I talked about this with Florio earlier in the week, right? I mean, there is value into hearing buzz in camp, right? And buzz usually follows the freakier guys.
Right.
The vets don't want to just love on the rookies and, hey, this guy's about to take my job.
Right.
Let me tell you how awesome he is. Right. But there's certain guys every year that you just hear, and the team can't help it. They can't help it because he's opening eyes day after day. And that started off right off the bat with Quinyon Mitchell. So I mean, come on. It's an all-star team here with the Eagles. We're not looking at much here that you can even look at. I mean, corner play, okay, sure. But, I'm not that worried about it. I'll just tell you that. I mean, I think he's a freak show. I think he'll be the best corner on the football team by week 5. That's how I look at it. And Darius Slay's still really good. So I'm certainly not trying to, disrespect him. Their secondaries, Isaiah Rodgers, I kind of liked him, and of course he was the gambling issue, right? Isaiah Rodgers? No. He got
different DB.
I think
we'll have to fact check that one.
Yeah. But either way, Isaiah Rodgers can fly. I think he improves their team that way. I really have no questions about them anywhere.
They'll have Cooper DeJean playing whatever position they want
Right.
on the back end when he's ready. He's getting back healthy.
Middle linebacker you can look at a little bit. Right? I mean, Devin White, Zach Bond, okay.
It's like that with them every year, though, and then it just kind of figures itself out.
I mean, well, yeah, it ain't that hard with Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, and Milton Williams in front of you all the time.
Right.
That helps things out, But phenomenal team. The biggest thing with the Eagles is just, to me, it's not even about players on the field. It's the coordinators. It's the rebuilding of Jalen Hurts in that locker room and that team. That's all those reports you hear. They're real. It's real. I said this to Dan Patrick. I heard it all offseason. The locker room is divided on Jalen Hurts. He is not loved throughout. And I think you could probably say the same a little bit with Sirianni, but there are issues there within that in that organization, and hopefully they can fix that because there's no doubt they're a Super Bowl roster.
All right, that was correct, by the way. Isaiah Rodgers suspended all of last season.
It was.
The Colts cut him after that gamble.
Right, because he, if I remember right, was like bet on an NBA game on the sidewalk outside the facility.
Yes.
It was like something stupid.
He didn't bet on football.
It wasn't. It was basketball, but it was on the NFL grounds, I believe.
Yes.
It was something of that nature. Isaiah Rodgers can fly, right? I mean, he can really fly. We're talking special speed. So you put him and Darius Slay on the outside, and you let our man Q Mitchell work the inside. Watch out with that pass rush.
All right, now we move over to the Ravens here, where there's plenty of camp battles, questions. Cody McKenzie said Ravens offensive line battles. 3 positions are up for grabs with young players that we haven't seen much of. Now, the Ravens are one of the rare teams, Chris, that always get the benefit of the doubt because they always have killers, right?
They always have a guy. They always
pillage
pillage the biggest, freakiest, scariest motherfuckers on the planet.
3. This is pretty unheard of territory even for them.
It is.
3 positions up for grabs on the offensive line.
Definitely. I think this is another one. It's no brainer here. I mean, we could talk about the Clemson guys on defense, right? Nate Wiggins, Trenton Simpson taking over for Patrick Queen certainly is something I got my eye on. But the number one thing by far is the O-line. Right, the Andrew Voorhees, the Daniel Falele, and then the rookie Roger Rosegarden at right tackle. I mean, those, of course, yeah. I want to see it too. They got,
Can Ronnie Stanley get through the season?
Can Ronnie Stanley stay healthy? Who we know when he does, he's definitely one of the best tackles in the game. They got some good backups. They got everything there. But, yeah, we want to see this starting group. Who's it going to be? Where are they all going to be? And can they be dominant in the run game? I think that's what you question about them. Voorhees is what? He got he missed his ACL in the pro day, right?
Yes, he missed his whole rookie season because of the workout injury. I think he slid to the end of day 3.
Day 3 when he would have been way before
probably
that.
Third round.
Yeah, right.
Maybe even late second.
That's a big thing. And then Falele is a huge, giant man.
One of the biggest humans you'll ever see.
I don't know if the foot speed's right there, so you move him to guard, and we'll see. But that is one that I'm glad we have some smart listeners around here, and so far our homies here have kind of been on the same thought process as far as where we are and what we see with the weaknesses or things to watch with the team.
Aiden Chiz is watching exactly that. He said if Ben Cleveland can snatch the starting right guard spot from Daniel Falele on the Ravens offensive line, and who takes the number 2 quarterback spot behind Lamar? Chris, it feels like they really like Josh Johnson. Honestly, like every time you hear them talk about Josh Johnson, who's been in the league forever, they seem content that way.
It scares me a little. It scares me and it doesn't scare me. It doesn't scare me in the fact that he's going to run the offense. He's been around forever. I mean, damn, I was on the Bucs when we drafted him. Okay, so that just tells you how long he's been around. It's incredible. So that's where they feel comfortable. Now, where I would say I question is I don't know if you're going to get a whole lot of playmaking ability or dynamic throws if he gets in there, right? So that's where, I don't know if I think their backup situation's as good as it's been in years past. That would be something. And then, hey, the corner position, like we talked about, and our guy, which I got to watch him a little bit, just single it out a little. I saw a few highlights, and I like the way he looked and all that. I know he banged up his shoulder, but, Nate Wiggins has a chance to be that guy across from Marlon Humphrey.
It's so different how he moves.
It's effortless.
Yeah, he can mirror with any kind of movement.
You worry about is what we're worried about, what we're talking about, though. He's pretty tough, and he's got some dog in him, but he's not big. He's very skinny.
Slender.
He is slender. So, can he take that pounding in the NFL? It's definitely different than ACC football.
I was just just counting. I think Josh Johnson has almost played for half the league.
It's incredible.
In many leagues, but the NFL, he's played for almost half the teams in the NFL.
It's unbelievable.
That's 38 years old.
Knows how to play, knows how to get you in and out of the huddle, get the right checks, do all that. But, yeah, is he going to make, game-changing plays? I don't think that's going to happen.
All right, we got to move over to the Jets, and it's not just because I'm here.
Oh, shit, it is too.
Swolsey said, just let Connor riff about the Jets for half the show. Well, we're not going to do that. Tony Lee said, for the Jets, I'm watching Will McDonald and Olu Fashanu. Both are going to need to contribute this year if the Jets want to break the playoff drought. Fashanu looked really good in his preseason debut.
He did.
And now they're going to look at him at right tackle as well, which... the Jets do this with everyone. At some point, you'd like him to settle into a place, but he's athletic enough to do it.
Yeah, that's right. Well, they're looking at it going, wait, Tyron Smith, we can't move him to right tackle. He's been in the left tackle for
Morgan
77
Moses
years.
Gets hurt.
Right.
Yeah.
So you get him that experience, and you could see just get to start to feel of, hey, is he comfortable there? If we need him in a jam, can he go over there and play like you're talking about with Morgan Moses? O-line, of course, is the number one issue with the Jets, right? But I feel less concerned about it maybe than ever before.
It's not even close.
The bodies are there.
Right.
The people are there. It's not like some years where I don't give a shit who they piece together. It ain't going to be that good, right?
No.
This is where it's just, hey, if they could stay healthy with some of these guys here and Tyron Smith can stay out there and, AVT is good and Morgan Moses, you go, they got a fighting chance and they should be formidable there, and we'll see where Fashanu goes and how that plays out.
It's just a professional unit compared to the years past where they have so many. Hopefully this guy makes that jump.
Right.
Hopefully
he's never played this position. We're going to try him out here.
And Mekhi Becton will flip a coin if he's playing this week or practicing this week.
Yeah.
He brought Will McDonald as well. Now, Will McDonald getting a lot of time because Haason Reddick's not at camp. I think McDonald, the thought is more for him to take over that Bryce Huff rotational role, but a guy that they clearly want to see more from this summer.
He's been having a great camp.
It looks that
from
way.
Everything I've been told, right?
He had a really nice spin move and quarterback hitting. They
saw
called it roughing.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
Come on.
It wasn't. I promise it was not
that
roughing.
drive me crazy.
Terrible call.
They want to see him put his hands down so he doesn't put all his weight on the quarterback.
But you'd rather see him beat the tackle like that.
I'll take it. Who gives a shit? Right. It's
exactly.
a preseason game.
Doesn't matter.
It is. But again, I think this is why, I understand that. We certainly got to watch him. I don't have a lot of worries about him. I think he's going to be fine and dandy. And I also think this is why they're not feeling the pressure of the Haason Reddick situation. Right, I know people are going, well, maybe the Bears will trade for Haason Reddick or some of these teams out there. They might, but I think there's some things you got to remember here. One, Haason Reddick, people around the league are going to start to go, well, 3 teams in the same offseason? There's a problem with him. Maybe it's not, the teams. What's going on here, right? There's that. The Jets are also they're not desperate for Haason Reddick. Right? They're going, we got depth, a little depth here. We're good here. And Jermaine Johnson's a hell of a player.
They think Jermaine Johnson's going to be a star
exactly.
this year.
So, and they got to think about, we might have to pay him, right? We're about to have to pay Sauce Gardner, the highest paid corner contract ever. Garrett Wilson. They got things coming down the pipes here. Right. So that's where, and they're not the Jets, like we were kind of talking about with the 49ers earlier, the time is now. They're not looking to kick some assets down the road for when Aaron Rodgers isn't here and then they get a pick from it. They're going, wait, this might be the only year with Aaron Rodgers. Maybe we get another one after this. We need Haason Reddick this year, part of the rotation. I don't think Haason Reddick is taking the right approach. That's what I've said. I've said it a bunch of times.
Why didn't he hold in? Is my biggest question. The fines are insane in the CBA.
They are insane.
Insane.
I don't know. Listen, I have a hard time. He went through the trade. I don't think, and we haven't heard this or anything out there. They make the trade. He had the press conference, all of that. I don't think the Jets haven't lied to him and been like, hey, we're going to give you a new contract. They've been very upfront about the situation altogether. And what I would also say to Haason Reddick, who's a really good player, is I just go, he's not TJ Watt or Nick Bosa. He's not like that where a team's going to be like, oh, we're not the same team without him. Right? Again, there's a reason he's on his 3rd team in 4 or 5 years here. Right? He's really good, but I think a lot of people go, I don't want to have to pay him like the top D end in the market. Now, he's being underpaid right now. There's no doubt about that. Right? To make half the money that TJ Watt's making, he's going, what? TJ Watt's not twice as good to me. I know he's really good. But, yeah, he's way below market. But still, to me, man, this point of your career, Are you really going to let $14 million go down the drain here, right? And you're in a position here with a team that's really good. You could put up some numbers. This team could get in the playoffs. We all know if you show up in the playoffs and get a few sacks there, cha-ching, 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 right. Cha-ching, and all of a sudden now you're a free agent and you're going to get big money again. I don't agree. And now he's not practicing, training, putting himself in the best position to be his best. That's where I would, if Haason Reddick called me, I'd go, man, get in there. Get ready, right? You can still complain about you want a new deal or some sweetener on top of it or whatever, sure, but you're not helping you. You're not helping you by what you're doing right now.
This scheme is tailor-made for him to have 14
exactly.
sacks. And to your point about perform, which he easily should in this defense, it's set up for him that way. Danielle Hunter just got a 2-year, $49 million deal with 48 guaranteed.
Right.
So that's the floor for Reddick this offseason. Reddick can. If Reddick hits double-digit sacks, he goes in the offseason, he's guaranteed almost $50 million.
I would agree with that.
So
and to your point, Danielle Hunter, like 2.5 years ago, we were like, oh, I don't know, his neck injury, I don't know if he'll ever be the same. So you can increase your value on the market still at this age, and you're right, he's custom made. I mean, he's wide nine extraordinaire. Right. I mean, that's what he's going to be great at. Let alone he's not going to have to play 74 snaps a game with this group here. He's going to be able to be fresh and stay young and feel good and whatever else, and they have a chance to be one of those teams where they could be in the lead a lot and just unleash the pass rushers and then watch out from there.
Staying in the AFC East,
number 2 receiver too,
of course.
That's another thing with the Jets,
because Mike Williams he's off the pup, but it's a long.
Exactly.
I think it's a long shot for Week 1 to be Mike Williams.
Agreed. So who was that? Corley. I know Lazard's had a good camp and all that.
I would want to see what Brownlee can do.
Yeah,
he consistently makes the plays that they thought they would get from Lazard.
Right.
But he doesn't run with the ones.
Yeah.
So Lazard didn't even play preseason Week 1, which I found after the year he had last year.
Yeah.
He should have been out there.
I think they're happy with Lazard though.
Okay.
He's come back with
Rodgers,
renewed energy, and listen, I think I look at like Lazard and maybe some of those guys last year. It was like it was the red carpet parade here in New York. I think some of them got lost in the superstardom of this Aaron Rodgers to the Jets, and I'm doing every press conference, and they're inviting me to every party in New York City, and sure I'll come. Oh, he's going to be there, and they lost. I think Lazard maybe lost his way a little that way. This year he'll bounce back. Yeah,
and I do know they like Xavier Gibson, the smaller slot receiver as well, who's their return man.
I get that.
I think you'll see a collection of guys until Mike Williams is ready to roll.
Right.
For the Dolphins, from Lulu Chill 62, for me, it's the Dolphins' offensive line. It was terrible last year. Week 1 was a dumpster fire. This is a unit that
it's a different.
There's not help on the way. I mean,
no.
What
they're taking some shots on some, again, Austin Jackson. We know been better, right? They got Aaron Brewer there. They're taking a shot with him, the athletic center.
This is the scheme for him. I mean, he's probably the smallest center in the league.
I think he's by far the smallest center, right?
Not a lot of guys are playing at, 280?
No, I think he's exactly right. I mean, I think he came in the league like 275. Yeah. I was like, what? Can he really do this, right? Taking a chance with an Isaiah Wynn.
Another small guard.
I know, right? So see where that goes.
Which
and of course,
a wide scheme. I get it, but I'm just pointing out, not a lot of offensive lines look like this.
No. They are going with guys that they looked at and going, they got talent. It hasn't all worked out, or they haven't been healthy. We think we can get them here and raise their game and hopefully they stay healthy. That's kind of what it feels like. But even to the Tyrann Armstead, I mean, again, he's at an age and at a spot here where you worry about him and his health and all of that. But yeah, offensive line, I get that. There's some moving parts there. It's different. There's no doubt. It's still not the number one thing I look at.
Okay.
Because one, I'm a little bit with McDaniel and going, he's like Shanahan. He's going to figure out how to hide the group or make them to look the best they want.
Can I guess this one?
Yeah.
It's the pass rush.
Of course.
Yep, because of the injuries and the guys they lost.
They're just, I mean, if you just saw them on paper, you'd go, oh, they're good. But you got to take into wait, this is a rookie. They lost this guy. Oh, yeah, this guy's got an ACL and this guy's got an Achilles tear. Right. So where is that going to come from? That to me is the big thing.
Shaq Barrett ended up deciding not to play for them. He retired. And that was a nice depth signing at the time. And now you're like, well, there goes that plan.
Definitely. So, yeah, guys like Chop Robinson, what can he do right away here as a rookie, right? Agba, Muhammad Kamara, who we liked out of Colorado State, had some skills. But, yeah, that to me is by far the biggest question. And especially when you're, the Dolphins and you're in the AFC and we know how good the quarterbacks are and most of them can move the way they move and all that. That is, you got to play Josh Allen twice a year. Yeah, I worry about their pass rush more than anything.
Moving over to the Chiefs, lip smackling good. First, welcome back. Just caught up on Monday's pod. A little hurt you didn't call me to fill in for Ahmed. Mine isn't a single player, but who do you see being CB2 in Kansas City next to Duffman?
Yeah, that's a good question. It is. Now, I thought for sure it was going to be, Jalen Watson or Joshua Williams, right? That's what I thought. Right now, this is another one where I got to kind of go back and watch the film a little bit and see the secondary because I haven't really studied Najee Johnson,
right?
And seeing he's getting some run there. So I don't know, but like we've talked about with some of the other teams, I'm interested to see it there, but I'm not worried about the position
because they figure it out.
And there's just enough talent there. I mean, I saw the Joshua Williams and Jalen Watson shut down the 49ers receivers in the Super Bowl, and so I know they're capable, good players, right? Who wins that starting job? Yeah, sure, I'm definitely into that and seeing where that goes. Mine will be left tackle all the way, right? And I did watch that closely. Right, I can't watch everything. I know everybody out there thinks I'm the man, and I like to think I'm the man too.
You are,
but
eventually we all run out of time.
We run out of time.
We all run out of
time. Okay, but yes, the left tackle,
Kingsley Suamataia.
Yeah, and he looked good, man. I mean, really good. Like I was very, very impressed. One, Andy Reid's a line whisperer. They're one of those teams where every year I kind of go, I'm not sure how good, they've had years where that, and they always have the mid-round picks or somebody that they go, oh, we like them, or they find a diamond in the rough off of somebody else's roster. I think they found something here with Suamataia. How do you say his last name? Suamataia. I think that he looks like he's lost a little weight. His feet look a little quicker.
It's a good sign.
Right? And then they're teaching him left tackle stuff in the NFL. I mean, but he looks the part. I was definitely impressed by his play the other night against Jacksonville.
I mean, former 5-star that's always had the talent. It's just technique with him. And if they coach that up and get the conditioning, which that's taking the right step, there's big ceiling.
Jawan Taylor looks like he lost a little weight, looks in better shape. So, hey, Kansas City, man. They won the Super Bowl and didn't even play their best football.
They
have the ultimate.
Played some of their worst football.
They have the ultimate formula for a coach.
It's insanity.
To be like, wait, we won the Super Bowl, but damn, I could still yell at you a lot because we had a lot of games when I watched back film and we played like crap. You looked like crap. So he can really get on them still. And that's what's amazing. Usually the Super Bowl champ, they get their butts kissed every day by the coaching staff. Nobody can really get over the Super Bowl feeling. This is one where, they went back and I'm sure self-scouted themselves and went, holy shit, we got to get the hot poker out on everybody. Make sure we don't do that again.
This one for the Jaguars, 1987 HLW, gotta be BTJ, Brian Thomas Jr. for the Jags. He's slowly making plays in camp. Love Connor being on the pod. Thank you, 1987 HLW. Brian Thomas Jr., he's starting to kind of turn things up, it feels like, the last week or two.
Yeah, made the crazy catch right in the game the other day. I mean, I think if he can, establish himself or whatever, right, it does take that receiving core to a whole nother level, right? Because I don't think Christian Kirk or Gabe Davis, as you know, I don't think they're the guys that are striking fear into a defense. You get a guy like BTJ where he can, be the explosive guy, take safeties, make them move back. Then all of a sudden, Christian Kirk and Gabe Davis are way better.
And Evan Ingram.
And Evan Ingram, of course, as well, too.
Yeah.
And I think their O-line's going to be better where they'll be able to run the ball, right? I don't necessarily worry about them at the wide receiver position. I'm totally in line with, hey, I want to watch him because I think he's got to be a difference maker. I think, though, if I had a true worry about their roster, I think secondary is a little where I would go, right? They got Darnell Savage doing nickelback, right, which I'm like, I don't know, right?
Campbell's a great corner, but he's only one person.
He's only one person. He's the only one. Cisco, I like
Cisco.
I like too.
Yeah.
He flies around. He showed up last year. There's no doubt about that. But hey, Ronald Darby is getting up there in years, right? And then we just don't know about Antonio Johnson. So That's where I'm a little just like, if I look at them at all, that's maybe the one area on their team where I just go, yeah, I want to see what they're all about. Wait, can Savage be a good nickelback? How's that going to go? And the Antonio Johnson and the development there and where that goes.
I got some bad news.
What?
I got to go to my work wife.
You got to go to your work wife?
Yeah, I got to leave the side piece, go to the work wife.
Damn.
It's about that time.
Is he here? Is he doing this?
I actually cannot confirm that. I haven't been looking at the entrance, so and I really push this to the limit. I got to be in that studio in 2 minutes, which is fine.
Yeah.
I guarantee I'll still be the first one there.
Guaranteed. I'm like 12:30. There's no way. Did Matthew Berry leave his house yet? Is the question I would want to know.
I should actually text someone and find out.
You should go, are you out of your house yet?
Yes.
So, all right. So it's okay. Go do what you got to do.
No, I can stay for the close.
You can stay for the close?
Oh, yeah. Okay. I just wanted to let you know.
What did you want to do, Pete? Do you want to just close it? You good? Or all right. Okay, and I think we hit a lot of the major teams, right? I don't know if there was any other one that I wanted to hit on or anything. I'm just looking as we close out here. I think we got a majority of them in there. And if we didn't hit any team, we'll get to it. We'll get to it next week.
A lot of preseason football left.
You know that. We hit the Browns, right? The Browns would be a team I think we could hit on, and maybe the Steelers and Bengals too. But we'll get to it. We got lots of preseason football, and again, as we go here too, I'll start to give you more and more updates on some of these other rookies that aren't quarterbacks, right? I'm trying to watch them all little by little as we go here, but I really focused on the quarterbacks the first weekend and a few random rookies here and there. But, I want to dig in a little deeper with some of these guys. Darius Robinson in Arizona and some of these other guys. Take a closer look at Byron Murphy and just stuff like that. So, everybody, you know where to find us. Connor, you are the man.
Dude,
thanks for being in charge.
That was awesome.
I can't believe you're ditching me for Barry. Unbelievable.
Company man.
Unbelievable.
I just do as I'm told.
Jeez. Okay. All right. Good job being a company man.
Yeah. Eventually I'll get a little more rebellious.
Okay. Good. Yeah. Please do. Please.
Maybe later in my NBC career.
All right. You know where to find us. Subscribe, rate, review. We'll be back Monday with the pod. I believe Ahmed will be here. You're going to get the full rundown of preseason week number 2 right on Monday morning. We'll certainly get to that and all the major storylines. Everybody be good. Be safe out there. Enjoy these last few weeks of summer. We'll see you Monday. Peace out. Clap it up. Yo, what's up? Thanks for watching, homies. You know it's the off-season, but there's no off-season with Chris Simms Unbuttoned. It's the NFL. It goes all year around, all right? So hit subscribe, please, to hear my thoughts on your favorite team, your favorite quarterback, and, hey, how this season might unfold as we get ready for the 2024 season. We got a better picture, clearer look now that the draft is over, free agency. We know who's playing quarterback for certain teams. So, again, thanks for watching, and remember to subscribe. Peace out, homies. Check you out soon.